Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's been programmed right into us. But what if we flip that whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our minds, our finances, our relationships, and of course, in our lives. Let's jump right on in. And I'm Andy, and joining me, that everything is my life partner, Meta.
You forgot your own name.
It's been a long time since we've been together. That's why.
Well, so we celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary this week.
Yes, yes.
And I know some people might think that, well, it is all because you guys are lucky. You found the right one and you managed to stay together for this long. It's just because you guys are lucky.
Well, technically, I was lucky. So at least that's what all my friends tell me, anyway.
So, I mean, behind all this luck that we seem to have, it's not all it's not a thing that is just out of thin air. So there are actually research on luck, right? So there's this professor called Richard Wiseman. He's a professor of psychology at the University of Bedfordshire. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. But his research suggests that luck is not a random occurrence, but it is something that can be cultivated through attitudes and behaviors. And by being open to opportunities, to chances, you trusting your gut, you trusting your intuition, and you expecting success, and you find the good and bad situations, you nurture relationships, you can actually make yourself lucky in many areas of your life. What does that think? What do you think?
I think that is true when you figure out how to channel it, right? Because for the longest time, I thought I was unlucky. My family thinks they're unlucky. And the funny thing is, like you said, the more you chant unlucky, guess what? You become less lucky, right?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, my dad I thought my dad was really lucky,
Hmm.
and I actually thought it's just karma because he's an architect, right? He
Hmm.
owns his own business, and sometimes he would give me like a stack full of raffle tickets that he bought from for charity
Correct.
purposes, and he would usually win something, and that's because he bought this many raffle tickets, right? So if it's luck, is it karma? I don't know, but there are research and actually, there are 80% of people that says they follow his advice and said they got luckier. So, hey, give it a try.
Well, what's the first secret for getting luckier?
So, what you want to do is maximize your opportunities. So, lucky people, they have this thing about creating or noticing opportunities when it comes their way. So they do this in the different ways, just as like networking. You do that a
Hmm.
lot of networking, right?
Correct.
Sometimes you adopt a relaxed attitude to life. Don't be so stuck up sometimes. And just being open to new experiences.
That is so true, right? It's like everyone says, "Oh, I'm manifesting luck," and all these opportunities show up to them, and they forget to go through the door, right? So,
For sure. I mean, we've heard the story from Tony Robbins about someone that he trained that they manifested lottery, winning lottery, right? And actually came true, right?
and they won three times, like three times, winning like the jumbo lottery three times. That's insane. Like we tried that, didn't work.
We weren't manifesting
We
it
didn't
right.
want it bad enough, I guess.
So you want to be more lucky? There are studies on the personality wise
Hmm.
how to be more lucky. And one of them is actually more like you, people who are extroverted.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps for networking purposes and getting out there, getting to know people, spending more time with others, and just finding more possibilities if you're extroverted, right? Otherwise, you're just not going to see the opportunities
Hmm.
out there.
For sure, when you have time to interact with others, that's when you get opportunities. That's when you see something that's interesting,
Hmm.
possibility that's open up for you.
Correct.
I don't know in this time and age when you do this online, is it the same? But I know that in person seems to be better for me. I'm just old school.
Yeah, yeah, I'm same thing. It's like I'm going on all these Zoom calls and I'm trying to read what are they saying on their face. And they could be playing on their iPhone for all I matter. And it's tough reading people on Zoom. Like you. I think we're definitely more old school, meeting people in person. You get to see body language. You get to see if they're leaning into it, they like you, the conversations if they're genuine, right? So definitely, I think you'll be luckier if you're in person for sure.
And also, if you're the type of person that's tense, that's very anxious, you're less likely to notice and to take advantage of opportunities. So that's you want to try to ease up a little bit, be a little more open.
Agreed.
If you're open to new experiences, there are people that just resist change. They
Hmm.
resist the new. Like my sister is one of those people. They're not going to see opportunities, even if it's right in their face.
I so agree with that one, right? The next one, I really like this one is listening to lucky hunches, right? It's sort of like, I'm a big superhero fan. I love Spider-Man, and it's sort of like a spidey sense, right? It's like when something's tingling, something doesn't feel right, or something feels good, you have to roll with it, right? And I
Hmm.
think that's really important. And I think lucky people really have a good sense of their intuition and their gut feelings to know when something is going in the right direction and maybe sometimes to back off.
For sure. So, on our website, we have a free giveaway, the gut book
Yes.
that we give away.
Yes.
So that actually talks about the gut-brain connection and
Mm-hmm.
how there's scientific research on how the gut and the brain works together. So when you get a gut feeling, it's actually your brain doing something. So it's not just a luck or just not just the gut, but it's actually something that your brain is telling you to do it.
Exactly. And the next one?
Well, the next one is to expect something good to happen.
Correct, correct, correct. And I think this is where a lot of people get it wrong.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean there are good luck charms. You know how people has a good luck sock, or they rub the crystals and whatever
Yeah,
it is.
if in California, everyone's got their own crystal to rub in.
So it might sound irrational, but sometimes certain things, even though it's a superstitious belief, but because you believe in that's going to happen, it could manifest itself.
Correct, correct. And same thing. Make sure you're manifesting good luck, not bad luck, right?
Yeah, I mean there are people that are manifesting abundance. They just don't know what abundance of what, right? So be
Exactly.
specific in what you want and what you don't want.
And then, the last one, and this one's very important, right, is turning bad luck to good luck, right? Lucky people aren't always lucky, right? Like, I think we got really lucky when we moved to Texas, right? But then some people is always talking about all these bad things that we're missing from California. And it's like, no, I don't think those are bad luck. It's like we have so much more good over what they perceive as bad, right? So it really is changing the perception of what is good luck and what is bad luck and rolling with the good rather than, keeping down in the bad,
Mhm.
right?
Well, one thing is you have to find the good amongst the bad,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also being resilient about it, right?
Correct.
There are always bad situations, bad things happen to good people all the
Mm-hmm.
time. If you turn that bad into a good thing, you take it as a learning opportunity, then it becomes a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. And just a quick example on that because I know it's all past with this whole pandemic and everything, but like everyone was saying, oh, you had such good luck, you caught COVID multiple times, and yet me and Nina never got sick, right? And it's not because we had good luck; it's because we had a
You mean it's
strong.
bad luck catching COVID?
It's bad luck catching. Well, it depends. If they're from some of the Californian guys are saying it's good luck you caught it because you're mad we left. But anyways, the reasoning it wasn't because we're lucky. It's because we took care of our health. We had a robust immune system, and studies are showing now it was always about the immune system, right? None of
Mhm.
these other things worked, right? So, in a sense, what we're praising, that gave us good luck is keeping in good health.
Sure. So just to wrap it up, luck isn't always about luck. It's also about what you can do about it. So it's not always just, believing something could happen, but it's something that you can do about it.
But keep rubbing those crystals. You have those crystals. Anyways, we will have right back a special returning guest. We have Samantha and her last name
Kaaua.
Kaaua. See, she remembers. I didn't want to break it up, but we'll be right back after this break. Strap in, folks. We're about to take a joyride through the fountain of youth. It's Annie Nam from Chronically Healthy Life. Ever wonder why some folks seem to age like fine wine, while others are more like a moldy cheese that's been forgotten in the back of the fridge? It's like they got the energy of a Duracell bunny on Red Bull, while the rest of us are running on fumes. Now, you might think hitting the gym and munching on kale is the ticket to eternal youth, but sometimes it feels more like we're just speeding up the aging process. Picture this. You're on the treadmill, feeling like $1,000,000, and suddenly you look down and realize your knees sound like a bag of popcorn in the microwave. Not exactly the sound of youth, am I right? But fear not, my friends, because here's the kicker. It's not just about the number of candles on your birthday cake. It's all about those sneaky little stem cells playing hide and seek inside your body. At the age of 20, you got more of these bad boys than you can shake a stick at. But fast forward a few decades, and they're scarce as a parking spot in downtown Manhattan. But guess what? We got a secret weapon up our sleeves. Phototherapy patch technology without drugs. That's right, folks. With our stem cell activation patches, you can hit the rewind button on aging faster than you can say reverse aging. So if you're ready to reclaim your youth, look younger, feel stronger, and heal faster than a superhero with a side of espresso, then it's time to hop on board the rejuvenation train. Get your stem cell activation patches now at lifewave.com/chronically healthy life. And let's make aging look like yesterday's news. It's not anti-aging, it's reverse aging, baby.
Everybody, welcome back to Kids Corner. We've been talking about traveling with kids. One of the absolute worst things that can completely ruin a vacation is getting sick while you're on a trip. That is miserable. And it's even more miserable if your kids are sick, because it's very difficult to find ways to care for them when you're in a hotel or someplace like that. So we talk a lot about the stem cell patches here. Now, kids, they don't really need the stem cells. They've got plenty when they're children. They recover really fast. But there are two patches available on LifeWave that you may not know can benefit you and your kids hugely when you're traveling. The first one is the glutathione patch. I actually have one on my head right here because I have a little eye infection that I'm healing with it. Glutathione is the patch that you want to wear when you travel. It is the one that can help protect you from picking up anything that might be on the plane, somebody sneezing and coughing, anything like that. It can protect you by keeping your immune system very boosted. And that can be a huge benefit for you. You don't wear these all the time. You only wear it like when you're on the plane, maybe when you're in a hotel, and then on the plane home. So it's pretty easy to do, and just one patch per kid. So that'll help. The second LifeWave patch that you may not know can really benefit you when you're traveling is the X49, which is, besides being a booster, it acts as a Faraday cage to protect you from all the EMF, from all the electronics that we are exposed to everywhere all the time. The phones, the computers, the televisions, the lights, the scanning in the airports, et cetera, and so forth. One of these can act like a Faraday cage to protect you from all that. And you just wear it when you're traveling, and it will help you a lot. So we wanted you to know that you do have access to resources that are very simple. No one will really notice. And it's super easy to stick a little patch on your child's belly, and then just, nobody will know, nobody will care. So, and they won't complain because they'll forget that it's even there. Even better, right? All right, that's travel tip number 3. Ciao. Show.
Oh, there you are.
I
couldn't hear you for a second, but you are there now.
I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty, so if I apologize for that.
All good.
I would like to welcome our guest, Samantha Kaaua. Help me, Samantha.
Kaaua. You were so close. Kaaua. You were right there.
Kaaua. She is a TEDx speaker, author, and esteemed marriage coach, recognized for her counterculture approach to transforming relationships. As the founder of the GEMS and the creator of the Inner Mosaic method. Ooh. She is a beacon for individuals yearning to break through negative family patterns and lay the foundations for loving and trusting relationships. Samantha is on a mission to help save 10 million marriages and recently launched her international best-selling book, Finding Beauty in Your Broken Pieces. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here today, Samantha.
Thanks, Christy. I'm so thrilled to be back and now to be interviewed by you. So I'm looking forward to this. Yes.
Yeah, we kind of crossed the last time you came on the show. So, listen, so our topic today is canceling our codependency culture. I love that.
Nice.
We have, I think this is such a big deal. I mean, codependency, I think it's so deeply ingrained, we don't even really even know that it's there
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes. So true.
So let's just jump in. What do you think how can we like start transforming a relationship? And I would think that would mean a marriage relationship. Are we going to focus on marriage relationships or?
One of the teaching points that I have in my book is that everything is a relationship. So we can focus on relationships in general, and it applies to a marriage, a parent-child relationship, a colleague, coworker, boss, and employee relationship, friendships. So yes, we can definitely broaden this. Even though I focus on marriages, this applies to all relationships for sure.
That absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So what does it take? Do both people in the relationship have to be fully committed to making a difference?
No, definitely not. And that's really part of the counterculture approach that I take to relationship transformation is that many times people will use the terminology it takes two to tango, or both partners need to be willing to grow in order for it to work, and that's not necessarily true. And for most of the time it's not realistic that every couple, both partners will be willing and ready to grow at the exact same time. Like if we think about it, the odds are not in our favor.
No, that
No.
is true. That is
Yeah.
true.
So it's definitely not required. It's great and it does fast track things if both partners are willing, or people in the relationship are willing to work together. But no, I use the scientific example, right? We use science here of the law of open systems. And so an open system, for example, is like an ecosystem, right? Or our economy is actually an open system as well. But let's take an ecosystem, for example. And if you change one part of that system by scientific law, the rest of the system must and will change. It's called evolution, right? And if it doesn't, the whole system will become obsolete. It will just end, right? If there's no evolution, the system must end. And so that's what happens in our relationships. If you change in a way that impacts the entire system, the other parties or party or partner must and will change. And if not, your relationship will come to a natural completion. So that's how I operate. And that's what I teach my clients to do, is to transform themselves in a way that impacts the system and the relationship.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes total sense to me. I mean, I guess I just never thought about it that way, but that
No.
absolutely.
When I explain it to people, they get it. But if you talk about our culture and society, it's not taught to anyone.
No.
And that's why people don't know how to do it. It's because we're not taught that. We're taught, in honor of the title of our topic today, we're taught to be more codependent and to rely on other people to feel good about ourselves, or to indicate whether we're in a healthy relationship or not healthy relationship. We're looking outside of ourselves to validate our internal feelings, right? And versus being the change agent and transforming relationships from the inside out. So we just have it backwards. That's all.
Yes, it starts here.
Yeah.
So that would make me think that, if you're having trouble trusting your partner,
Mm-hmm.
that you really need to look within and start looking at how you're not trusting yourself.
Absolutely. Yes. You look at you. You got it way faster than most people. But that is one of the top things that I teach my clients is they're like, no, he broke my trust or she betrayed me. And I'm like, okay, yes. And the only way to rebuild it is to look at what parts of yourself you didn't trust in the first place and begin there. Right? It's
Wow.
not the other person has to earn your trust back. That's what you hear. Oh, you lost it, so you have to earn it back. And I totally did that with my husband. And the moment it clicked, it was just so eye-opening for me because it was like, oh my gosh, I didn't trust him in the first place. Why would he ever earn my trust back when I didn't trust him to begin with? And who am I really not trusting right now? And it's me, right? When you're betrayed, the trust that's broken is in yourself because you're like, how did I not see that? How did I not know like, why didn't I see all those red flags? Like, how can I be so naive? And you just doubt yourself even more.
Yeah. Or even worse, you did see the red flags and you chose to
Ignore
pretend
them.
like you
Right.
ignore them.
Yes.
And that's even worse. It's
Yeah,
like,
and we beat ourselves up even more for that, right? And you're like, oh, it's 2020 in hindsight. Now I see it, right? And oh, I did see it too, but I thought we would get over it, or I thought I could overlook that, or I thought whatever. And then we lead to this heartbreak and heartache. And ultimately, we're disappointed in ourselves for allowing it to happen. Although it's not in our control, but we think it is. So really, like you said, the trust that we perceived to have been broken in our relationship was actually a reflection of the trust, the level of trust that we have within ourselves. So yes, it does even in that sense start from within.
Yes, that's logical because if you're seeing red flags at the beginning of a relationship, you have to trust yourself enough to say, I don't want to get into this.
Yeah, exactly.
And if that's not happening, then and you do get into the relationship and you're aware and awake, then you have to always be going, what am I listening to yourself going, wait, am I speaking
what
the
am I
truth?
doing this for if I do see those red flags, right? And I'm consciously continuing this relationship. So it's not based on them, it's based on my choices, right? And yeah, it really is. And even for my husband, the story that I think I've shared on the last episode, but I'll just briefly bring it back up, was that I found out he was hiding an addiction behind my back for 10 years. And it was a really big blow to me, like just a feeling of betrayal. But the realization is that, I needed to learn how to trust myself, but that it didn't matter if he did that again or he betrayed me again. What mattered is that I trusted myself enough to handle any situation in the future. That I couldn't control the circumstances, situations, or conditions, but what I could control is the trust I had in me handling anything that came at me. Right? And
Yes.
that's the confidence we want. That's the transformation that we need in our relationships. And trusting ourselves is that important key to canceling the codependency culture. Self-trust, like ultimately that's what it is not relying on the outside environment, world, people, things, etc., to dictate how much trust and non-religious but ultimately faith that we walk in, right? Like I'm not talking about religious faith, I'm talking about trusting that the universe is conspiring for us and with us, and that everything is going to work out in our favor for our highest and best good. That type of faith. And when we can walk in that energy, we don't need other people to validate us or to confirm or deny or, right, dictate our feelings. So,
Yes, yes, I love that. I say that all the time when
oh,
I'm
yeah.
asking for guidance. I'm like, what's in the highest and best good of this
Yeah.
situation, and for me and for everyone concerned, and
Mm,
that just makes a whole difference. So,
totally.
well, in listening to you, it's really, I mean, everything is a relationship.
Yes.
Every single person you meet, even if it's the checker at the grocery store, there's a relationship in some form.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Well, what about like parents and children?
Hmm.
It seems like to me that if if you're living from that place, that's what you're showing your children.
Yes.
And so they're growing up with that idea rather than, oh, yell at daddy if he comes home from work late, or or is in a situation that you really can't control.
Yeah. I think our culture does teach the young children um, backwards on how to handle these types of situations. Like our in like all honesty and frankness, I do believe that our emotional IQ has dropped over over the years, And I even said this the other day. It's so beautiful. My daughter actually talks to her friends so much and gives them advice so much, and her friends actually ask her to ask me relationship advice. So she comes to me with her friends relationship questions, and something clicked for me the last time we were talking, which was, oh my gosh, teenage relationships are actually a perfect representation of what we're teaching culturally about relationships. Like their dysfunction in teenage adolescent relationships are perfectly what like it just is such a representation, and we're like, oh, they're so immature and not able to, they're so in love and overly enmeshed with one another, and I'm like, because that's what we're teaching them to be.
Exactly.
That.
It's yes. I've ranted and raved because I was a teacher, and
Okay.
about
Yeah.
how everything is, on TV, and every way is all forcing you into a way too soon for things you aren't ready for yet, and no honoring of what you really feel.
Yes.
And yeah,
I know
that's
this might be a little slightly off topic, but I think it's relevant. So my middle daughter is 10, and she's in third going into fourth grade. And she had this situation with the boys and girls in her school where the boys like the girls now and they want to start dating. So we had a conversation of what is dating or what is boyfriend and girlfriend at your age at this grade. And it got to this point, well, we had a beautiful discussion around it, but it really got to this point where one of the boys, I guess they said, if I hit a home run at my baseball game, then you have to go out with me, right? And so it was this agreement between the boys and the girls. So another boy and girl did that, and then they started going out or dating or becoming boyfriend girlfriend. And my daughter got into a situation where one of the boys said the same thing to her, and she agreed to it, and she let me know, and I said okay.
Mhm.
Like we discussed what that looked like, and then he hit a home run. And she went to school, and he's like, okay, so are we going to date now? Are we going to be girlfriend, boyfriend now? And then she said yes initially. She came home that night, said, I don't think I want to do this. And she went the next day to school and said, I know I promised you I would, but I don't feel comfortable doing this yet. And
Mhm.
she broke it up, and she's like, he was really upset. And I told her, it's okay that he's mad. And it
Mhm.
was just such a beautiful opportunity for us to interact with them at that age, my daughter at that age,
Mhm.
to teach them like what it looks like to be able to take something back and honor herself. And then also redefine, she's like, well, we're not going to kiss. I'm not holding his hand. So why do I need to be his girlfriend again? And she's like, doesn't that just mean we're nicer to each other? I'll just be nice to him. We don't have to be boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm like, yes, Jaslyn, yes.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That is a great story. And that was a valuable thing to teach the boy as well, about respecting that boundary, that, you know, just, you don't get, you can make a deal, and if it's mutually agreed
Yeah.
upon, and you want to both continue, that's good. But if either of you doesn't feel comfortable, it's okay to say, you know, I changed my mind. I don't feel comfortable anymore. That's really important message.
Yeah, and he was upset for a day, and she's like, he was really hurt and crying and upset, which was like, I was like, that's perfect that he felt his feelings. Like, I'm so happy for him. And then the next day he was over it, and they were all friends and happy. So it was so cute.
I love that. Kids are, you know, when you guide them in the right way, they just, you know, it just comes, it's just amazing what they come up with. It really is.
It is. I love the conversations we have together. It's just, I'm just so thrilled for them.
Yes. So, I'm curious about your TEDx talk.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about it.
Sure. Its title is, well, I had to shorten it for YouTube, but technically the original title was Why Marriage Therapy Fails. I'm sorry, Why Marriage Therapy Doesn't Work. And then I had to shorten it for YouTube purposes, and it is produced as Why Marriage Therapy Fails, right? So, as a former marriage and family therapist, I was able to give people perspective as to why it's important to know what you're going into when you begin marriage therapy or counseling. And the reason why it doesn't work, like just in a nutshell, you can go watch that too. But in a nutshell, is that we go in with this codependent mindset of, if we go to couples, one, we're equally working on it together, and two, maybe they'll listen better or hear me more, and they'll begin to like, it really, the focus when you enter into marriage therapy for most people is the other person, right? Like, help me fix them, help me let them see what I want them to see. And it's not this internal, like, let's go to couples therapy together so we can work on ourselves and be better at showing up together. That's never, I mean, 90% of the time, that's not what's happening. And that's why it fails. The expectation is false. The expectation is, we're going to change together and you'll see my side better. And that's not what works, right? What works is individual growth and showing up differently in the relationship. And I also say, people believe that they have communication problems. It's not a communication problem. They think that's why they need marriage therapy, is to communicate better. But you can't communicate feelings you don't know you have. And people are trying to articulate their frustration and feelings, and they haven't even gotten to the real root of the problem. So why communicate right now if you don't even know what's happening inside of you, right?
Yeah.
That's why it fails.
Yeah. Well, why are you mad at me? I don't know. I'm just mad at you.
So be different. That's normally the number one complaint.
Yeah, you know, I had a friend years ago that she was a marriage counselor as well. I don't think she was like you though. I don't really know, but she once told me that in her case, what she noticed is that if a couple came in for marriage counseling, if the woman initiated it and the man agreed, she said like 95% of the time they're able to move through things and get to that place where they're able, however they work through it or communicate better or whatever that is. But if it was reversed and the man was it and the woman, she said it hardly ever resolved, because by that time the woman was saying, I have tried everything and I'm
Mm,
done.
yeah.
So, I thought, but hopefully that, I mean, with this shift in perspective,
Yeah.
it can be gentler and more. I think when you work on yourself, I just love that. When you work on yourself, everything around you just shifts.
Exactly. Yeah. And what most people just don't understand is how to implement that in a relationship, right? So, our culture, personal development culture, actually creates more separation than it does community and connection. So, when we learn, like, oh, okay, I'm bettering myself, they tell you disconnect to toxic people. Like, who
Yeah.
surround yourself with like-minded individuals, which tells you to get rid of your spouse. Right, like it's ultimately like move away from this family member, don't talk to this coworker, like get a new job because your workplace is toxic. You're just moving away from the toxicity but not really learning how to deal with it and
Mhm.
actually be a change agent in those relationships. So I
Mhm.
take it like that personal development one step further. And it's like, okay, now how do you apply this to any of your and all of your relationships in a way that serves growth instead of separation? Because that's what most people complain about is when they're on that spiritual personal development journey, it becomes really lonely because now
Mm.
they're told to isolate from the people that literally everyone around them is probably toxic at that point because they're also in toxicity trying to get out of it, right?
Right, right.
And so then we grow apart. And so yeah, I want to teach people how to evoke change in all of their relationships so they don't have to run away from majority of them. Like they can
Mm.
complete relationships, that's not a bad thing, but most of the time it's broken up prematurely.
Mm.
Friendships, relationships, etc. Yes.
What about a situation with, like where you have, I mean, I'll just tell you mine. My brother's married to a very violent narcissist,
Okay.
and who has done the isolate and abuse thing with him.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so it's like there's nothing that I can do.
Yeah.
Which is what you said. I'm doing my work, but
Mhm.
there's it doesn't matter what I say or do, it gets twisted. So, and he's very much like an ostrich, like, no, I don't want to know.
Oh,
So yeah, so it's like when you're in that situation, you just have to go back to self-trust and your own inner work.
yes.
And
Absolutely. Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you won't have to make hard decisions and hold healthy boundaries. Like there are family members for me and my, like different in-laws that I choose to not attend certain gatherings because not of the toxicity, but just because of the place it puts me in, right? And
mhm,
I don't want to show up as that person. And so it's not them, it's more of like how I want to be and who I want to be around. So I do choose to not attend certain things.
mhm,
But at the same time, if I want to evoke change in that relationship, like you can't change the relationship between your brother and his wife. But what you can do
mhm,
is show up differently for your brother and create a safe space for him to talk to you when he is struggling or when he does feel like he got gaslit or when he does feel, bulldozed over in that relationship, that you can create the connection. Although it sucks to hear it and like you get frustrated, it's a choice to decide whether we want that person to be in control of that frustration or not, right? So
mhm,
there's still ways to continue to be that change agent and just plant seeds and nurture our relationships, but it does take that discernment, like you said, the trust in yourself of like, can I hold this space for him, or
mhm,
will I get too upset and I need to distance myself, right? So
mhm, mhm.
it's,
Yeah. Or will he even do it?
yeah,
Because
and maybe not, and
yeah,
that's his life
yes,
choice, right? Like then we
right.
trust, then we trust in the powers that be, like, okay, this was his life path, and
Yeah.
I honor his choices in life, and I love him the same, right?
Yes, wow. I mean, that's exactly what the dialogue that happens in my head. It's like he's on his path and it's all okay. And
like, who are we to say that that wasn't his and I don't know if you agree with like pre-incarnation choices, but like, who's to say that's not what his soul chose to experience in this lifetime? And who am I to take away those learning opportunities, right? So, yeah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, I love this.
Going on and on forever.
Yes, it definitely. So then, so now, so like there's conflict. Any relationship has a potential for conflict, you know, and I mean, kids all the time, they're always like button heads. And then it seems like, you know, they can resolve sometimes and sometimes not, whatever. But what do we do? How do we look at conflict? How can we shift our perspective about conflict to help with that growth?
That's a great question. Yeah, and I often say that conflict is an opportunity for connection. It really is that, like, I lack of better word, and it's the most appropriate. It is an opportunity. Most people run away from conflict because they're afraid of someone being mad at them, or for having a difficult conversation. They don't feel articulate, or they don't feel like they can express themselves appropriately, so they run away from conflict. But I always encourage my couples to lean in, and that conflict actually, if done right, creates a deeper connection. Yeah. So we don't run away from conflict. We embrace it, and then we allow it to deepen our understanding and our connection between one another. And sometimes it's hard when you're dealing with another person who doesn't have as much emotional intelligence or ability to manage their feelings. However, if you're able to not take the conflict personally, you can actually navigate that conversation in a way that will support even deeper connection, no matter the skill level of the person on the other side of it. Yeah.
You know, that's true. And, you know, back to kids being a sort of a microcosm of the world, which they are. I've seen that where I've said, explain why you hit your friend. And then he said, and then we have a communication, and I've seen them actually go, oh, I didn't know that. And then all of a sudden they're bonding. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. And then they start talking on a whole new level, just like that.
Yeah.
And it's really, I love that when that happens, and I'm looking at them like, you guys are amazing.
Yep. And that's exactly what happens in our marriage. But if we run away, we create distance. If we lean into conflict, we create connection. So anytime now that you bump up against conflict in any of your relationships, I challenge you, lean in and see what happens.
I'm there. I'm going to try. Yeah, that's amazing. Samantha, how can people reach out to you? And I understand you have a free gift for our viewers as well.
I do have, if anyone is struggling to decide if they want to stay or go in their relationship, they can download this free guide, Do I Stay or Do I Go guide? And it's right here. You can go ahead and copy that link. And I do want to offer, I don't know how you will do it, but if there's a way for our viewers to reach out to you as the hosts, I would love to give away a free book. So you guys can decide on what viewer receives that. But I would love to also offer a gift of a copy of Finding Beauty in Your Broken Pieces.
Oh, do you have your book there? Can you hold it up?
Yeah, sure.
Put it on camera for us?
Yep. Finding Beauty
that's beautiful.
in Your Broken Pieces. The art and science of transforming any relationship. So it really is. And we have a relationship with money, with time, energy, our environment. So any relationship. Yes.
Wow. Wow. See, now that's a whole new shift.
Whole nother segment.
So yeah, next time. Samantha, thank you so much. I'm so honored that you came on with us today.
Thank you.
We have to definitely talk some more.
Yes. Thank you for the beautiful conversation.
Okay, everybody stay tuned for our biohacking tip of the week.
Welcome to Chronically Healthy Life. So in our biohacking segment this week, I'm going to show you how to make something called an oximo. So a lot of us, we're into summertime now, and it's really hot outside, so it's great to have cold drinks. Now most of the cold drinks we usually make is sugary, it's full of sugar. So this is kind of like a variation. So oximo is kind of like ancient recipe for syrup. But instead of just making it sweet, it also has a little bit of vinegar acidity into it. And we're going to let it ferment for a little bit, so it gives a little more digestive benefits on top of the sugary drinks you usually have. So what I have is half a cup of mint and half a cup of dry lemongrass. So first you need something like a jar, and you put in half a cup of the mint. So put them all in. And we also want to put in half a cup of the lemongrass. Making a mess here. So now what you want to do is put in a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Leave it in. And I have here 1 cup of lemon juice. Pour them all in your jars, really simple. And you want to make sure that you push them all down. Okay, mix it all up. And the last thing you need to do is add in 1 cup of organic honey. That's what makes it sweet and a little bit like a sweet and sour kind of taste. So, just 1 cup. Just dip it all in. And just, mix it a little bit to make sure that it's going all in. And make sure that honey covers up all your dry spices. So once that's done, you want to cover it up with a sheet of paper and put a lid over it. Just make sure to do it. You can use elastic band if you want to, or you can just use this and close it up so that it's still breathable, but it's not, nothing's going to go into it. And all you have to do is leave this by your windowsill for about 3 days, so let it ferment a little bit. And after 3 days, take it out, drain out the spices, the herbs, and you can use the sugar, the honey mix, and store that in your refrigerator. And when you use it, just take out maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons and mix it with either salsa water or iced tea, non-sweetened iced tea, and that would be your really cool summer drink that is still healthy. So there you go. This is the lemongrass mint oximo, and I'll see you back here next week.
Hello, we are Mutts and Meows Rescue, a 501c3 nonprofit, foster-based, no-kill group. Mutts and Meows Rescue pulls dogs and cats from surrounding shelters in the greater Houston area. We even pick up dogs and cats abandoned on the streets. Mutts and Meows Rescue is foster-based and rely on your donations to keep rescuing. To know more about us is to know more about our furry friends and help them find their forever homes. Come visit us at Mutts and Meows Rescue on Facebook today. and decide how you can make a difference.
We all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy later years with energy, vitality, and good health. But so often with age, our bodies show signs of things just aren't the same as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing recovery time, and sleep all go downhill. If you had physical trauma that happened to your body like I did, this happens much faster. I felt like a 30-year-old trapped in an 80-year-old body. But do you remember as kids, the boundless energy we had, how fast we recovered? This is not because of getting old, but because of active stem cells inside our bodies. These are the cells that can generate and regenerate all the cells and structures in the human body. They are the building blocks of our organs, tissues, blood, and immune system. They also serve as an innate repair system everywhere inside the body. But as we get older, stem cell activity slows down, become less effective in repairing damage, and decline. By the age of 20, we only have 1 billion stem cells left. By 30, they decline by 60%. By 50, they decline by 75%. 60 by 90%. And by 80, we're lucky to have 50 million active stem cells. But what if we can naturally stimulate our bodies to reactivate and regenerate new stem cells through phototherapy without drugs? Now we can with our LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patches. Reclaim your youth and look younger, feel stronger, perform better, and heal faster. Get your patches now at lifewave.com/chronically healthy life. It's not anti-aging, it is reverse aging.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. So, what do you think of Samantha's review?
I always love her golden nuggets. It's funny how she's talking about high school and high school romance, and it's the parents that give them those thoughts. And I was thinking, I wonder if that's true. My dad was sort of a Romeo. So, was that why all these girls are after me? But, jokes aside, I got the cat, I was lucky. So I was just joking with Samantha. One day Minna's going to wake up. This is not what she's thinking. It's my mind power controlling her what she thinks. And she's going to say, hey, I'm kicking your ass out. But no, I think that it is so relevant for her to share with people that you need to know what you want before, even going into a relationship, right? I think that's so powerful.
Yeah, you definitely need to know what you want, and I think you also need to know what part you play in the relationship.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what got to you. Lately, you've been doing all the house chores that I tell you to do.
I'm doing my honey-do list. It's like we just celebrated our 25th anniversary, and I was like, man, all the things I built in the last year, I did it in the last 3 days. So, hey, I need to give you a reason to stick with me for the next 25.
Okay, I guess that's a good start. So who do we have next week?
So next week we have Carmen Spots. She's going to be joining us next week. And, please join us here every Friday at 7 p.m. CST. You can watch past episodes at watch.e360tv.com in the Vitality TV network. And, of course, on our YouTube channel at Chronically Healthy Life. And if you'd like to know more about what we do and how we can help you live a chronically healthy life, visit us on our website at chronicallyhealthylife.com. And, if you have any comments, because we want to hear more of your comments. And also make sure you reach out to us. We have to find one lucky person to get that free book from Samantha. So, we're going to find you a viewer, Samantha. You're going to send them a free book. And make sure, we want one too, right? So any questions or suggestions about our show, please comment on our Facebook page, Chronically Healthy Life, and email us at anything@chronicallyhealthylife.com.
See you next week.
See you next week.